Hello and welcome to The Insider, a show designed to clue you into the biggest news, events and announcements inside the video games industry, discussing with you some things you may know, some things you may not, and glue holds it all together is a little bit of my own opinion. My name is Paul James, thank you very much for watching, and let's kick off the episode. The first of E3's 2019 press conferences has now been held. Xboxes. It was the one that most expected to be the biggest, flashiest and most exciting of the lot, and it was, most likely. The rest is still to come. It was a big showing for Xbox. There's a lot for us to break down and discuss, and we're going to get into that in this episode. Let's begin by talking about the third-party titles that were there, the most prominent ones. We're not going to go through all of them because there was about 60 plus games that were on show at the Xbox conference this year. So let's begin by talking about the biggest one of all, Cyberpunk 2077, which debuted at the Xbox conference last year, and at this one got an April 4th, 2020 release date, courtesy of Keanu Reeves, who's going to feature in the game, and then made this grand appearance on stage, got up, waved his hands around, lots of energy, lots of excitement, pointed up at the screen, only to see that April 4th release date appear. Plenty of good things to say about Cyberpunk. One of my big concerns from last year was that the voice acting was a little bit wonky, and that seems to have improved in this demo here. I'm sure CD Projekt have reflected on some of the commentary and feedback they were given last year, worked on it. The game's looking good. I hope that we get to see some form of gameplay over the next few days. I believe it's not playable on the show floor, but it bodes well for the game going forward. April 4th, it's not that far away. There was Dying Light 2. The first game I wasn't a big fan of, but the sequel, confirmed, we got a trailer. Looks kind of neat. Maybe it can win me back. I don't know. Our Autumn, Australian Autumn 2020. There's Jedi Fallen Order, which we got some gameplay yesterday at EA Play. It got a new trailer. And look, there were some people that were a little bit negative off the back of the gameplay that we saw. And I can understand how that might be the case. The gameplay was a little bit bland, maybe, is the right way to use it, to describe it. I enjoyed what I saw, but there wasn't the Star Wars sort of action there. It was very, okay, let's walk into this room, we'll swipe these few guys, kill them one shot because I've got a lightsaber, and I move on. What we saw in the trailer showed a bit more depth, a bit more action, a bit more suspense, a bit more reason for us to maybe be worried and to be challenged, because I wasn't feeling that from the gameplay. It's going well. It's obviously still on track for a November 15th release date. Then I'm going to go through a few quick fire games. Dragon Ball Z Project Z that got announced early in the year. It now has its proper title, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, so dedicated to Goku. It's an action RPG rather than the fighting-based games that we've seen in the past. Looking kind of cool, but we still don't know that much more beyond the trailer that was shown. There's Phantasy Star Online 2. This got a massive reception from a lot of people, simply because the Phantasy Star games, Sega titles, haven't really resonated at all in the West in a long time, but there's a small pocket that are really into it. Well, Xbox is leaning hard into this. They've gotten Sega support. They're working with Sega to make this happen in the West. Presumably it's going to come to other consoles, but that remains to be seen. You've got Tales of Arise, which was leaked a few days before, unfortunately. Go check out the Player 2 website for more details on that. It was leaked a few days ago, but was confirmed here at the Xbox conference. Looking really great, and again, I'm seeing a lot of people who weren't Tales fans really pipe up and have a lot of positive things to say about this. Maybe this is the big game that helps break out the Tales franchise from under the shadows of Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy and other Square Enix RPGs. You've got Elden Ring, which is the Miyazaki cross George R.R. Martin developed From Software game that is looking kind of cool. Cool little tone piece. Didn't necessarily tell us a hell of a lot. I'm hoping that maybe it doesn't bring the same level of hate towards me that the Souls games, Bloodborne, Sekiro all do, that kind of push me and many others away. Hopefully they can balance that difficulty in such a way that's a little more accessible than what we get from other games. Then a couple other quick fire ones. Borderlands 3 got a new trailer. We got confirmation of the rumoured DLC that's coming to Borderlands 2. Nearly a decade old game, Borderlands 2, is getting some new DLC that's going to bridge the gap between Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 3. That's coming to the Handsome Collection. You can look forward to that one. It's available free right now wherever you've got your Handsome Collection, which is basically every platform at the moment. And finally, Lego Star Wars, which we haven't seen much from Lego games in a little while now. Lego Star Wars is getting a compilation that includes all 9 of the Skywalker Saga games, or movies encompassed in one trailer. Bodes really well, looks kind of cool. We'll have to wait until we see a little bit more. Those are the big third-party announcements, and next we're going to move on to some of the indie stuff that we saw from the Xbox conference. Xbox has been doing a great job in the last few years of fostering their relationships with indie publishers, developers, prospective indies, and just basically anyone associated with the indie scene. Where PlayStation, their direct competition, has been stepping more and more away from that as the generation's gone on, which is a shame, and that's a topic for another time. But Xbox still continued to lean in hard. They had an indie, like an ID at Xbox show reel, went for about 2.5 minutes, showed off some really cool games. That included the likes of Dead Stake Drive, an Australian developed game. That's one to really keep an eye on. It's getting a lot of really positive press. Then there was things like After Party, Legend of Right, which is it's RPG time. The title was kind of, the font wasn't great. It was kind of hard to identify what it was, but The Legend of Right is the subtitle. There's a whole bunch of other games that were featured in that indie reel. And then we've got some that were broken out, including Way to the Woods, which I believe, and I haven't had a chance to really do some proper research on this yet, may also be another Aussie developed game, so go check out that one. 12 Minutes, which was a really cool concept where you were reliving the same scene over and over. Your actions, the things you learn from each playthrough, adjust the way you play going forward. Again, really cool concept. We'll have to wait and see more on that. There's Spiritfarer. That comes from the team who developed Jotun a few years ago. Big fan of that one. You can go check out some coverage of that on Player 2 website. New game, it's like their third game in almost 4 years or thereabouts. They're really churning these titles out. Thunder Lotus are doing some great stuff. Keep an eye on that one. After Party, which is coming from, they put together some really good work. Just go check out After Party. It's a great little tone piece. There's some awesome trailers and bits and pieces that are available for it. Go check it out. And look, on top of that, there's some indies that kind of bridge the AAA first party space and this indie scene. Some of those we're going to talk about next. Moving on to the first party stuff, and there's plenty to discuss. Xbox was boasting really about the fact they had 14 exclusive first party internal games that were going to be shown off at the conference. And whilst we're not going to talk about all of those, there was a few that we really need to spotlight. There was Gears 5. That was meant to be the big exclusive game for the show. We didn't get as much as I expected, and it focused on the new Escape multiplayer mode. Apparently we're going to see some more campaign stuff later. I'll talk a little bit about that shortly because I've got some other thoughts when it comes to that. We saw Gears Pop. We almost saw as much Gears Pop, and we certainly saw more gameplay of Gears Pop than we did Gears 5, which was a little bit odd. But pre-registration is almost available now for iOS and Android players, so keep an eye out for that one. Ori 2 got a release date, February 11, 2020. Devastated. Loving the look of the game. It's going to be brilliant. Devastated that I'm going to have to wait till next year to finally play that game. Bleeding Edge, which comes from Ninja Theory, Hellblade and the like, was leaked a couple days ago. Turned out to be true. Basically the trailer that got leaked that had confidential all over it. Totally legit. Was on the show floor, on the stage, looking pretty good, and I assume we're going to see more about it in the coming days. Battletoads finally got its first gameplay trailer. Remember, we got that tome piece last year, which just kind of announced that there was a game coming, and that was about it. That they're back, and that's it. We got to see some gameplay. It's going to be rough, it's going to be hard, and it's going to be coming to Game Pass, so you don't have to really worry too much and commit too hard. Minecraft Dungeons is one that took me quite aback. If you followed The Insider or any of my written work or any other podcasts that I've done over many years now, you'll know that I really dislike Minecraft. I don't think it's anything like what the general consensus seems to think it is. I think it's very overrated. But then they showed off Minecraft Dungeons, and it's got lots of Diablo aspects, and it actually looked kind of cool. Again, it's a Game Pass title, so I'll pick it up and I'll give this one a crack. My bias towards Minecraft won't hold me back in this particular case. I was kind of interested. You've got Halo Infinite, which we're going to talk to in a little bit more detail shortly for some other reasons, and then The Outer Worlds. The Outer Worlds is still third party at the moment. This was an Obsidian game. Obsidian got bought out by Xbox, and that was revealed last year. But the Outer Worlds was a project that was developed and deals were signed before that acquisition. So the game is still coming to other platforms, specifically PlayStation, I guess would be the key one here. Xbox is really promoting it as if it's an exclusive, even though it's not. But we've got an October 25th release date there. It's going head-to-head with it's a heavyweight bout between it and Medieval, the PlayStation remake, remaster. That's a really good date for it. October 25th, I think it's going to do really, really well. There's some big hitters in and around that ballpark, but it's got some clean space to really, really win over a few people, especially given some of the burnout and fatigue and frustration I think a few people still have off the back of Fallout 76 last year. Now, we spoke about Halo. We're going to talk about how it intermingles with some other key details next.
Get ready.
Halo Infinite is coming, holiday 2020, and it is coming alongside Project Scarlett. Project Scarlett is the current codename for the next Xbox. We've known about this codename for quite some time, and Xbox have I think they've come to understand that it's pretty public knowledge leading into it, so they teased it a little bit beforehand. They basically announced at the beginning they were going to talk about their new console. They didn't shy away from it. They didn't go for some big surprise. We knew it was coming, which was great. And what we got was fairly similar to what we got from the Wired article about the PS5, or what we presume will be referred to as the PS5, a little bit later on next year. Both the system and Halo are coming holiday 2020. There's a lot of similarities between specs from the Xbox, the new Xbox Scarlett, and again presumed PS5. It's the thing about it is that this announcement at this time, with PlayStation not attending E3, gives PlayStation ample time and ample opportunity to respond in turn and really nail the message, similar to what they did back in 2013 when it came to the Xbox One and the PS4. So I'll be curious to see what impact that all has. There were some great initiatives. We like to talk about Xbox initiatives because they've been doing some great job in recent years. Game Pass was big. There was about 30 odd games that were all coming to Game Pass. Many of those that I've already spoken about. We got Game Pass for the PC revealed, officially announced, and Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which allows you to get Xbox Game Pass, the PC Game Pass, and then Xbox Live Gold for $15 per month. How that equates to Australian dollars remains to be seen, but if you're into PC games, you're into Xbox games, and you've got a gold subscription, this might be for you, because it might be the best way that you can get both of those games at a really affordable price. Now to some of my negatives. The lack of Gears 5 campaign really bothered me. Gears is, as they have said regularly throughout the conference, and even in a couple of interviews post the conference, it is their big tentpole marquee game of the year. So why are you leading off with this new, admittedly kind of cool, the Escape multiplayer concept, when you could be showing off the gameplay from the campaign? People need that story. People play Gears for the story first and foremost. It's not like a Call of Duty or a Fortnite or something like that, where it's multiplayer that drives everything we do in that particular game. People bought Gears for the campaign in the first place. People continue to buy Gears for the campaign. People love that story, the characters, everything about it. So it was a really weird move, especially at E3, where it's their biggest stage, it's their best opportunity to get the game out there, to focus on something that wasn't the story. They teased it. There was this weird, awkward thing with Kate and like different heads popping out of it. It was all a little bit strange. But it was a big missed opportunity. I also bundled Gears Tactics into that, but I understand that is a big deal game. It's going to be PC, it's going to be console, and they've already covered 2 different Gears games at that conference that maybe they didn't need to, but it was noticeably absent as well after they revealed it last year. And then some other ones. Look, no Forza, no new Forza, I should say. That was interesting, but new consoles coming in a year from now. And Forza, the motorsport games, the core motorsport games, are usually one of those launch titles that really show off the tech and what the console can do. So I can understand why it wasn't present. It was a little bit odd though, given that we've had a ridiculous amount of time now where we've seen a Forza game every single year. And no Fable. That was disappointing. But we know it's not been confirmed. We know that there's nothing official out there. We assumed a lot of things. We'd hoped a lot of things. but no Fable, that sucks.
This isn't just a console launch, this is about the future of gaming.
Your games, your achievements, your progression, your accessories, your console gaming experience with Xbox, it all comes forward with Scarlett.
That concludes this episode of The Insider. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. All those buttons are down below here. Hit the notification bell. That way you're alerted to every new video the moment it goes live on the channel. That includes Patched, The Insider, Player 2 Plays, Late Game Review, Gamer School, and a whole bunch more. There's some awesome stuff there. There'll be plenty of videos coming up from E3. More of these dedicated to every single conference. There's some great stuff there. Please go and check it out. The website, player2.net.au. I'm not even going to go through my usual spiel. There's heaps of news there related to E3 2019. Be sure to go and check that out. There's conference wrap-ups, there's previews, there's predictions, there's a whole bunch of other opinion pieces that will be continuing to pop up over the course of the next week. So go and check all that out. That's also where you'll find links to more of these videos. There's Twitter, Paul James P2 from Paul James Games for me. Geez, that's a mistake I haven't made in a while. The website is player2au. You can catch us on Patreon, patreon.com/player2au, where you can kick in a few bucks. The lower tiers, you get early access to episodes. The higher tiers, you get monthly episode exclusives. Until our next conference, which is Bethesda, and as of the time I record this, is only about 90 minutes away. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you shortly when I talk about that conference.